Alderman Talanair.
Here.
Alderman Parker.
Here.
Alderman Shipp, absent. Alderman Geenan.
Here.
Alderman Clark, absent. Alderman Mayberry.
Here.
Mayor Tomes.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Remain standing here for a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. Item number 5.
Minutes of the February 26, 2018 meeting.
Move to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Carries. Item 6.
Minutes of the executive session of February 26, 2018.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries. Item 7, update. We have St. Patrick's Day Parade. The 2018 St. Patrick's Day Parade will be Saturday, March 17th, 2018 at 11:30 a.m. starting at 23rd Street and 4th Avenue in Rock Island. Parades, floats, bands, vehicles, walkers will head through downtown Rock Island, across Centennial Bridge, and continue its course through Davenport. The Grand Parade is the only bi-state St. Patrick's Day Parade in the U.S. You can visit www.downtownrockisland.org for updates and more information. Then we have the post-parade parties. Gotta have those. After the St. Patrick's Day Parade has concluded, stay in Rock Island and enjoy the post-parade festivities. Some of the various outdoor festivities include Steve's Old Time Tap at 17th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue from 9 a.m. Daiquiri Factory will hold their annual Shamrock Shakedown on the downtown plaza from 9 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Make sure that was right. On the 18th, the Kavanaugh's Hilltop Tap annual party. Man, I guess you got to be Irish to be able to do all this. The annual patio party at 1228 30th Street will be from 12 p.m. to midnight. So please be safe and enjoy the festivities. March 20th, 2018 will be primary election day. The general primary election will be Tuesday, March 20th, 2018. On election day, the polls are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Voters who are not able to vote in person may qualify to vote absentee. Early voting will be conducted now until March 19th, 2018. For further information regarding absentee voting or any other aspects of the election process, please contact the Voter Registration/Elections Department of the County Clerk's Office at 309-558-3571 to find a listing of locations and times to go. Or you can go to www.voterricounty.org. QCCA Expo Center Flowers and Garden Show. The 2018 Flower and Garden Show is coming to the Quad City Expo Center Friday, March 23rd through Sunday, March 25th, 2018. This event is great fun for the whole family. You can visit www.qccaexpocenter.com for information on hours and admissions. So there we have it for an update. We have number 8.
Presentation of the financial management report for the fourth quarter 2017.
Fiscal
disclosure, I am sick, so hopefully you can hear me and I don't end up in a coughing spell. All right. Okay, so tonight I'm presenting the financial management report for December 2017. Too small. And so this report is both our preliminary and unaudited numbers for 2017. Historically, we haven't always given this report because it is early. While we've paid all of our bills and our payroll and received the cash collections, there's so many journal entries that happen before we get to our audited financial statements. But wanted to take this opportunity to show you where we're at this point as we get ready for the audit. So the general fund right now is at 90% of budget for revenue and then 99% of budget for expenditures. We will be looking at some of the general fund budgeted revenue items when we get to the tax analysis, and then the expenditures. We now do have a schedule for our general fund expenditures by department, which we'll review after the schedule. I wanted to point out the TIF funds. The TIF fund expenditures are lower than budget at this point at 58%, and that's because of just the timing of some rebate agreements and projects that didn't take place in 2017, but might still in the future. At the bottom of this page, page 2, that debt service line, wanted to point that out, that it shows 158% of revenue and 158% of expenditures. And that is because we did issue bonds in 2017, and they were refunding bonds. And so this fund and two of our other funds, both Park and Recreation and the hydroelectric plant, will have similar journal entries that are created because of the refunding. We get money and then we pay it back out. But we did do some refundings for savings, so I just wanted to point that out. On page 3, waterworks and wastewater treatment, we've talked about this all year long. They're both running below budget in revenues, below budget in expenditures, and that's related to the timing of our IEPA loan-funded projects. And there was another one that I wanted to point out. Oh, the pension trust funds. So the pension trust funds, police and fire pension funds, I did want to say that, of course, they had a good year as far as returns go. They both were over 10%. In 2017, we certainly hope that that trend continues into 2018, but it's been kind of up and down so far. I wanted to remind you all that last year you did approve multi-year actuarial assumption changes where we're changing them incrementally over the next 5 years, and this would be year 2. So this spring we will have an update on those actuarial assumptions when we get that report from the actuary, and that will let us know what our employer contribution will be for 2019. So the bottom row on page 3, this is government-wide revenues and government-wide expenditures. So revenues are sitting at a little over 119 million, or 92% of budget, with expenditures at $3.2 million less, 81% of budget, so 116 million. And then our cash at the end of the year was about 22.6 million. Our new schedule that we started last year, each of the departments within the general fund, kind of hard to read, but the revised budget was 34.7 million, and then actual expenditures are at 99%, 34.4 million. Every department did come in under budget, at or under budget, with the exception of fire. And as we know, they had a lot of injuries, and so had some increased overtime costs as a result of those changes. I wanted to point out, too, when the last time I was standing before you to give our quarterly report, For September 30th, if you looked at that, our general fund budget was actually a bit higher, about $500,000 higher. So when we were going through the budget process for the year we're in now, 2018, did go back and ask departments to reduce their budgets where they could to help fund this current year's operations. So it is a little less. All right, ready to talk about taxes? All right. My brain is a little foggy. All right, income tax. Well, I can't forget about income tax. I'm not foggy on this. So this is the one tax where we missed budget by the largest amount. And so year to date, we're going to miss our budget by $566,000. This is a result of two things. One was last spring we did hear from the state that, from IML actually, that they revised our projections for what income tax revenue would be in 2017. But then shortly after that, the state did make a huge change that really impacted local governments, and that was a 10% cut to municipalities. And so the impact of that change was $566,000. And some of these, I will talk a little bit about what's going on in 2018. And so you can see for 17, we budgeted $4,150,000. The 2018 budget is only $3.7 million. As you all know from your contacts with IML, that the state is considering continuing that 10% reduction. And so we obviously didn't budget for that to continue after July. And so that would be about a $400,000 impact. The other one that causes me some heartburn is the replacement tax. So good news is when you look at this is that we did budget $2.6 million in PPRT, and we're at $2.6 million in PPRT for 2017. But have to disclose that $334,000 revenue number in October. That is a result of a journal entry where we reversed the reduction in revenue that we did in the 2015 budget when the state told us that they had overpaid us. And so we had booked that back into 15. They told us this past fall that they weren't going to seek reimbursement, but they also went on to say that your state, your municipalities, your future distributions will be reduced by approximately 23%. So we knew that was an impact when we were working on the 2018 budget. Their first distribution in that fiscal year would have been this September number, that $313,000. When you compare that to the 5-year average, it's about 25% less, so about what they had said. However, the December distribution was only $84,000, which is more like 77% less than before. And then just this past week, there's been some news from IML, and I had to write this down so I could read it verbatim. So last week, the state announced that the March 2018 distribution would be nearly double what was originally estimated. I sent it on to Randy and said, yay, we have good news. But they referenced a fact sheet that you can link to. So in reading their fact sheet, it is not significantly different from March 2017. So our March 2017 distribution was $693,000. They announced that the March 2018 distribution was going to be nearly double, but then when you read the fact sheet, it's going to be about the same as last year's. This is how the state talks. But I have to go on because now I'm kind of doing a little bit of stand-up comedy here. So I quote, "This means that distributions may be partially offset by lower distributions in April and May." So we have a lot of volatility in this revenue source, and we've talked about this when I've been up here and talking to you guys about replacement tax. So this source of revenue is a concern because it is so volatile. All right, so we'll go on to sales tax. Sales tax, good news on both sales tax and local option sales tax. These are presented on the same page. They are holding their own. While yes, year to date, they did not meet budget, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. We were notified last summer that there was a taxpayer audit that revealed that $82,000 had been sent to the city that didn't belong to the city, and so they did take that back in their distributions already. There is a promising trend I see when you look at the last three distributions on each of these revenue categories. One of our impacts too, is Kmart, the loss of Kmart. So that was, $150,000 to $175,000 loss in sales tax revenue. Also, in that local option sales tax, we do have that new 2% administrative fee. Still hoping that they'll reduce that to 1% or take it away altogether. So with use tax, good trends here. This has been a revenue that has been trending upward. In 2017 was much of the same, and so you can see with the distributions that we did exceed budget, and so we're happy for that. The 2018 budget, we did increase it. It was $870,000 last year. It'll be $980,000 in 2018. But unfortunately, a decreasing trend, municipal utility tax and telecom tax. We continue to see that decrease. We were on track for a good part of the year. We had lowered this budget quite a bit from previous years, but we were on track through quite a bit of the year, and then it kind of fell off that last quarter. And I suspect one of the reasons could be milder temperatures, and so our utility bills weren't as much as they've been in the past. Telecom continues to decline. Sometimes it's also called an excise tax, and this is an area where we reduced the budget for 2018. But good news, food and beverage tax continues to trend up as well. So we finished the year at $908,000, $28,163 over budget. Gaming tax, we did finish up the year at $4.5 million. That was over the budget of $3.9 million. The five-year average is about $5.1 million. December's distribution at $493,000 was strong and healthy compared to the prior year. So then we do have a total summary for tax analysis. So, two more reports that are included in the financial management report. The next one is our capital and major project, and it's sorted by department, and I'll scroll down to the end. So of our $39 million in budgeted projects for 2017, the sum of the invoices paid and our purchase orders is about 94% of our projects have been completed or substantially committed to. Lastly, our monthly investment totals. This is a 2-page report. Gives a 15-month history of our cash and investments. Easiest to see it in graphical form, and so just wanted to point out this middle schedule. There's two periods in this 15-month where our cash and investments is at a high point, and that would be November of 16 and then September of 17, just barely over October. And those are months in which we finalized bond sales and got new money in for new bond issues. Historically, December is a month where we have the lowest cash reserves, and that's a result of our bond payments. They're pretty much all structured to have the principal portion paid out in December, so we see our cash go down quite a bit there. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right. Item number 9.
Proclamation declaring March 12, 2018 as Crystalline Car Day.
And so I'd just like to mention that this was brought forth by Alderman Virgil Mayberry. And so thank you for the information and bringing this forth. And with that, then I'd like to have you read the proclamation, if you would, please.
Yes, I will.
And we can present it to the family.
Okay.
Crystalline.
Proclamation. whereas Chrislyn Carr started her Rock Island High School basketball career during her junior year of school, and whereas in those 2 years Chrislyn scored 1,101 points, ranking her third in all-time scoring in the Rock Island girls basketball program. And whereas Miss Carr scored 617 points this season alone and led the team in three-point shots percentage with an average of over 40%. She also averaged over 19 points per game and led the squad in assists. And whereas Chrislyn was named first-team All-State by the Associated Press this year, following her honorable mention last year. And whereas Chrislyn has also named to the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Class 3A, 4A All-State second team. And whereas Ms. Carr signed her national letter of intent and will be attending Texas Tech, a Division I school, in the fall. And whereas, along with her basketball achievements, Chrislyn is also an outstanding student and is on the Rock Island High School Crimson Tide Honor Roll. Now, thereby be resolved that Mayor Mike Toms, Mayor of the City of Rock Island, do here proclaim Monday, March 12, 2018, as Chrislyn Carr Day in the City of Rock Island, dated the 8th of March, 2018. If she would come up first.
Use the microphone.
Thank you. I'm grateful for this opportunity and grateful for this city. And I thank you guys all for supporting me through this journey. And I couldn't thank you guys enough.
Very good. Congratulations, well deserved. Great. There you go.
Okay, if you turn around and come over here a little bit and face James and the mayor in the middle. Okay. And if the family would come forward and stand up here with her and get your pictures also. I know her proud mom and dad and her grandpa. Come, Matt, don't sit there like you ain't heard me, man. Come on. Go up and take it from that direction. Was this little sister? Is she a baller? Oh, she's a dancer. Okay.
Oh, you're proud.
All right.
You can jump right in there.
Everybody look sharp. Very good.
Thank you again.
Hang on, Page wants another one.
Oh, what, that's, okay, sorry.
Congratulations, thank you once again.
And this is some more for Grandpa. Thank you very much. No, thank you.
Nicely done.
Thank you. And in the future, I did talk to the coaches from Alderman. They did great in basketball. They'll be coming, and I haven't talked to Augustana yet as far as them coming down also.
Great talent in the Quad Cities.
No, in Rock Island.
Rock Island.
Basketball in Rock Island. Yeah.
Rock Island, you're correct. Both.
Thanks, James.
All right,
got
item number
phone.
10.
Mayor Tomes will close the regular meeting and open a public hearing for comments on the City of Rock Island Citizen Participation Plan.
So I hereby close the regular meeting, and if there's anybody that would like to come up and discuss this.
Okay. The Citizen Participation Plan is part of the process we have to go through when we update yearly our one-year action plan, our five-year action plan, in order to receive our CDBG funds. As you know, that's a rather large portion of our program in the CD department, $940,000 that comes in the city that we're able to use for programs in CDBG eligible areas. So this is one where we had a couple of public meetings. The first one was at the Church of Peace, kind of a listening session. How can we get the word out? What kind of things would like to see, what would they like us to see us do? And the other one was at Longfeld School, where we promoted these events. We had good turnout, and we had some really good conversation on how to get the word out to make sure that people are understanding that we have these programs and how they can benefit from these funds. So that's why we're here tonight.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anybody else? Vince, I think you wanted to. He signed up back there. He's on the back.
I'd like to preface my comments first from a very recent article that was in Time magazine on February the 5th. It was written by Wes Moore and has photographs accompanying it. And so it starts off, Wes Moore runs an organization called Robin Hood in New York City, helping people with housing. People in poverty in America in 2018 are not a world apart. They're all around us, and their lives unfold next to, but are not cut out from, any prosperity that this nation experiences. He goes on to say, the reality is that the majority of people in poverty who can work are working and are still unable to earn a living wage. The reality is that too many people currently living in poverty were born there. The most shameful reality is that if someone grows up in poverty in America today, in 2018, they are more likely than ever to die in poverty. There are so people facing poverty in the U.S. look just like all of us, and they live all around us. There are single mothers working 3 jobs just to stay afloat. There are displaced workers who went to work every day for 30 years only to learn that jobs have been replaced by machines. There are people returning from prison with no path forward beyond a criminal justice system so broken that every sentence carries a life term, and finding that they are barred from living in public housing or receiving financial aid for college. With that, my comment on Citizen Participation Plan, the draft proposal. While CDBG entitlement funds addresses only 2 of the 3 national objectives to benefit low and moderate income persons or households, and the elimination of slum or blight, it is the 3rd objective that perhaps can be addressed. That is, meeting other community development needs having a particular urgency because existing conditions pose a serious and immediate threat to the health or welfare of the community, and other financial resources are not available to meet such needs. First, I would like to address the current proposal, which is a compilation of data about the city and is worth reading by all citizens interested in the continued well-being of our city. There are a few points I'd like the Council to address. Several years ago, the Council agreed to provide the entire social service allocation, which I believe is 17% of the grant, towards the city's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Center in the amount of $145,677 in the proposal. To compensate the agencies and organizations previously funded from that, the Council allocated $50,000 of gaming funds. This amount has not changed in the last 20 years. More than 20 organizations local city organizations must vie for these funds. One problem I can refer to as an example was at the time when I was at Project Now, we were receiving $17,000 for a senior transportation. That got eliminated. Other social service agencies' funding has also greatly diminished, $50,000 among 20 different agencies. I'm proposing the City Council double the gaming funds to $100,000 or more. This is an extremely small amount compared to the $4 to $6 million it receives from gamblers, which substituted the diminishing wheel tax income that we were getting. I think it's allocated to the city street department, fixing of streets. Code enforcement and demolition is concentrated in just 6 tracks, 226, 236, 237, 244, 245, with $194,935 specifically for the staffing of the code enforcement department. Another $145,000 is allocated for demolition of houses identified as not meeting the code. Having had the experience of being to the municipal court here in this hall 6 times to save a neighbor's home from demolition, I've heard in court many citizens, during that time, I heard in court many citizens having to abandon their homes for lack of maintenance funds. Of course, there are programs that assist eligible citizens in maintaining their homes, such as roof replacement, lien, and several very good programs that help people maintain and keep their homes if they are lacking funds. This is well and good, but I suggest that there should be an extra effort made by the city to ensure a homeowner should not have to live in fear of having their house condemned for lack of funds. There should be an early intervention program or service provided by the city to avoid this from happening. As it is, the city population has continued to decline since 1970. Today, it is 39,018 and will drop even further unless the city addresses the needs of citizens who do not fall into the low to moderate income category. Gentrification is having an impact on our longtime citizens. The Housing Authority and its subsidiary, Community Housing Services, and Rock Island Renaissance and its affiliates contribute to the decline of the availability of housing and apartments to meet the needs of the very low and extremely low wage-earning citizens. In today's newspaper, if you recall, there was a letter to the editor complaining that too much money is being spent in replacing 45 units of Lincoln homes, averaging $252,275 each. A few years ago, a former longtime housing commissioner had a similar complaint of the homes that replaced the 100-plus units of Manor Courts, which is now Linden Lane, costing almost $400,000 each. Yesterday's paper had an in-depth story about the Housing Authority's proposal to spend $11 million to renovate Sunset Heights, 141 units. Meanwhile, we have 457 families on the public housing list, representing a 3-year waiting list. In addition, while approximately 230 private landlords get market rate rents with Section 8 voucher holders, the holders only have to pay 30% of their income. There are also 357 families with a waiting period of 5 years for vouchers. Renaissance is spending $575,000 to upgrade the kitchens and bathrooms of 52 units in the downtown Golden Apartments. I draw your attention to the following maps that's included in the CDBG proposal, in which the original city and its southeast suburb is connected by an expressway. As you know, Rock Island was a segregated city until 1958, when former Arsenal Courts, now Century Woods, was desegregated by federal law. Manor Courts, for a while, continued to be for white families only. The maps indicate the lingering effects of these many years of a segregated city. Minorities are concentrated on the west side. as you know. West side of the original city, and also with a concentration of low-income, wage-earning families. But low wages not only exist on the west side, because except for four tracks, all the 13 other tracks have concentrations of low-wage earners. This clearly indicates that not only the real estate industry and developers have a misguided impression of the city residents, but also of many of our city institutions. The majority of white citizens who are low-wage earners occupy almost half of the city's public housing units. There is a reluctance to address the needs of the extremely low and very low income residents with housing that they can afford because of the fear of an increasing minority population. In addition, neighborhoods having citizens with low incomes residing in their neighborhoods is a problem. This brings me to the third national objective. We have an emergency need for the development of more housing units that are affordable by the 21.6% of our citizens who are at or below the poverty level. Our CDBG proposal needs to address this emergency, which is the third national objective, which is not addressed in the proposal. And incidentally, the proposal's chock full of information, and which I got to use right now. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Appreciate that information.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that wishes to address the council? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and reconvene the regular meeting.
Can we discuss?
Typically, we haven't.
Just comments.
Am I not allowed to? Okay.
All right. We are on to item number 11.
A special ordinance authorizing the acquisition of 30 permanent and temporary right-of-way parcels for the 38th Street resurfacing project in the amount of $16,896.
Move to consider suspend the rules and pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Spergatis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 12.
Claims. A, report from the Human Resources Department regarding payment in the amount of $16,651.37 to David Morrison of Rock Island, Illinois, for legal services rendered from November 17, 2017 through February 28, 2018.
Motion to accept the report and authorize the payment as recommended.
Second. Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Spergatis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays, motion carried. Claims, B through D. B, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $12,552.74 to Miller Trucking and Excavating of Silvis, Illinois, for an emergency water main repair at 4000 4th Street. C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $15,483.62 to Miller Trucking and Excavating of Silvis, Illinois, for an emergency water main repair at 1313 43rd Street. And D, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment number 5 in the amount of $404,429.40 to Civil Constructors Incorporated of East Moline, Illinois, for the water filtration facility project for services provided from January 22, 2018 through February 26, 2018.
Move to accept the reports and authorize payments as recommended for claims B through D.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I will be recusing myself from this vote.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
4 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 13.
Claims for the weeks of January 23rd through March 1st in the amount of $1,084,580.17, and March 2nd through March 8th in the amount of $706,765.64, and payroll for the weeks of February 12th through February 25th in the amount of $1,487,724.10.
Motion to allow the claims and payroll?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 14.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding the Coast Guard Auxiliary Lease Renewal Agreement at Sunset Marina for the term beginning April 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2019.
Move to approve the lease renewal as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the lease agreement.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 15.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding an amended resolution appropriating $821,133.50 of motor fuel tax funds for street maintenance in 2016.
Motion to adopt the amended resolution as recommended?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 16.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding an amended resolution appropriating $584,503.84 of motor fuel tax funds for street maintenance in 2017.
Motion to adopt the amended resolution as recommended?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 17.
Report from the Parks and Recreation Department regarding a highway resolution for the closure of First Avenue between 17th Street and 20th Street on Tuesday, July 3rd, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., along with a rain date of Wednesday, July 4th, 2018, and a flood date in September if needed, for a fireworks display and concert at Schwiebert Riverfront Park.
Motion to approve the street closings as recommended and adopt the resolution?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Besides, it'll be a lot of fun. Roll call, please.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan. Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 18.
Report from the Finance Department regarding an adjustment to the calendar year 2018 budget, recommending increasing the General Fund 101 by $267,834, the Community Economic Development Fund, number 207, by $506,857.05, the MLK Community Center Operations Fund, number 211, by $20,000, and the Park and Recreation Fund, number 555, by $30,934.63 through a transfer from the Gaming Fund, number 223.
Move to approve the budget adjustment as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussions?
I just think it might be good. I know Stephanie's voice is not the best tonight, but could you just make a brief explanation about that transfer so the general public might understand what we're doing?
So, gaming funds are only spent by approval of council. And So at the end of any given year, not all of the budgeted funds have been spent, and we actually do transfer those funds back into the gaming fund, and then departments go through and let us know what needs to be brought forward. And so that's what this process is. This isn't all unspent gaming funds that are brought forward. It's just ones that have projects that are tied to them that haven't been finished. In some cases, projects come in under budget, and then those funds stay in the gaming fund to be allocated towards the future year capital projects plan. So that's what this is. The amount in total is similar to what it was last year. Pretty close.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 19.
Report from the Finance Department regarding an adjustment to the calendar year 2018 budget, increasing the Martin Luther King Jr. Activity Fund number 901 by $69,372.38 through the carryover of unused grant funds from calendar year 2017 to calendar year 2018.
Motion to approve the budget adjustment as recommended.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion?
I'll be abstaining due to the nature of my employment.
Roll call.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Keenan is abstaining. Mayberry.
Yes.
4 ayes, no nays, 1 abstention.
Okay. Item 20.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding a request from QC Coffee and Pancake House to install a vinyl fabric and aluminum frame vestibule within the 3rd Avenue and 19th Street right-of-ways at 1831 3rd Avenue.
Move to approve the installation request as recommended, with installation after the city completes the necessary pedestrian access work and subject to submission of proof of insurance and a recordable agreement as stated in the report.
Second.
It's a mouthful.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Okay, it's moved to second. Any discussion?
I would just like to thank the city staff for working with the business owners and coming up with a creative solution. Thank Sarah and Jose, the owners, for being patient with us and sticking through with the idea. I'm thrilled about this. I think this was a really wonderful coming together of minds. So thank you very much, everybody that was involved. Looking forward to it.
Lately, I've been the recipient of standing out there waiting. So
Yeah, it'll be nice when it's raining.
yes, exactly. All right. Roll call.
Alderman Spargattis.
Yes.
Collinaire.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
We have item 21.
He already spoke.
And someone did sign up to speak, but it was Vince Thomas about the CDBG, so he's already spoken. So
Can Chandler, can you come back up here now that I can talk about this? I wish Vince were still here.
Oh, I don't.
So, first off, it's my understanding that what we're going through currently is just a plan to communicate with residents as to the programs that we get, correct? Not necessarily how we are allocating money, what programs we're doing, but simply how do we make sure that we are sufficiently communicating with our population, specifically populations that could probably benefit from these programs.
Correct. The listening sessions that we had helped us formulate the citizen participation plan. That's what we had the public hearing on tonight. That's how do we get the word out about our programs and not trying to solve problems at this point or allocate our funds or anything of the sort. It's just how do we get this out? How are we communicating with the public? That's all it was.
And then I was not able to attend either of the listening sessions. Thank you for having those. Could you perhaps, not to put you on the spot, but provide some summary, maybe some new ideas or something that came out of the sessions that we could be helpful?
Absolutely. One of the things that we're working on right now is actually translating our information brochures into appropriate languages. How do we serve those who may not be English speakers natively? So how do we do that? Make sure that they can understand the forms and the information. Also working with groups like CCC on doing more of a very, not large group discussions, but more of a real targeted meetings about our programs. How do we get the word out to some of these areas about our programs? Social media was another way that they started to talk about how could we utilize social media. So the ideas were great that were flowing out of this group. Really happy with it.
That's good. Yeah, I would certainly recommend utilizing our different groups that we have in the city, CCC, neighborhood groups, neighborhood partners, whatever that organization ends up being. But the townships, you know, there's all sorts of entities out there that serve this population a lot more directly than the city does. And so let's make sure that we're building those partnerships and creating these information pipelines.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Before you leave the podium, can you introduce the new employee, Mark, please, for us?
Yes. We have a new employee in the CED department, Mr. Mark Sykes. He was an intern for a while he was getting his master's degree. He's a Navy veteran. He started, what day did you start?
28 February.
28 February. Of course, you can tell he's military right there. But I'll let Mark give a little brief rundown of who he is and what he does.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Honored to speak before you, and really great to be on the team, especially with all the folks here that I interned with and got to know during the 2-month period that I interned. It was really eye-opening and enlightening, and definitely a change in gears from naval life to city operations. But I find it really, really interesting and rewarding too. And I'm looking forward to the great things and the wins that we're going to make here as a team together. And look forward to working with all you folks up there. And if there's ever anything that I can do, please, or any of your constituents need, please don't hesitate to point them in my direction. And full speed ahead.
Very good. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, if I could add on to that, I belong to the active club that's part of the Martin Luther King Center. We met this past Monday, and this was brought up as far as participation. So Jerry Jones, the director, and the King Center staff, they're getting the word out there also about this.
And I will say, I spent some time talking to a few people at the Housing Authority, and his comments there is once again, they're replacing, for example, the Lincoln Homes. It's 1-for-1. There was actually a few more. There was originally 46, I think, units there, down to 35. When they do the new construction, it'll be back to 46. They had some that they tore down over the years. So actually it'd be increasing from what it is today, a few more. But it'd be equal to what it was before. Along with, of course, Spencer Tower and that sort of thing. Those are equal, and they're not losing anything. And once again, I think that we all could admit that what the projects they've done here in the last few years are a major improvement to the neighborhoods they're in and a quality of life that people are having to live in. I think that that's a major improvement is the quality of life for them versus living in a rundown, dilapidated type of units. And so I think that they're making major strides and spending money at updating those so people can have a better quality of life and help aesthetically also with the city of Rock Island and the neighbors on their value of their homes and that sort of thing. So I think that's a positive move versus spending money just on adding more.
Right.
So I think that's a positive move.
Very positive. What was brought up also, our sprinkler system, and I talked to Randy. All of these new homes will have sprinkler systems, so the public out there will know that it will happen.
Yes. So, anything else for the other business comments?
Well, just generally speaking, I think that that's good, and obviously we're moving away from the old style barracks public housing, which certainly needed improvement. But Vince's comment that 20% plus of our residents are living at the poverty line, we got to make sure that we're not just maintaining, because a 3-year wait line to get into a home you know, you can't wait 3 years to get into a home. And obviously, it's going to cost money, and it's not like everybody has a lot of that at the moment. But, you know, I would certainly support moving in the direction of trying to find solutions to provide affordable housing for the residents of Rock Island. Combined with our strategies to pursue market rate housing and things like that, we got to make sure that we're not forgetting those that can't afford market rate housing.
I agree. We don't want to forget about it. The only thing is there are other cities that need to step up to the plate
All
also.
the cities have a waiting list.
Yeah, that's exactly. And so all of them need to step up.
It's a community effort to address poverty and generation poverty.
That's correct.
Is what Vince was raising.
That's correct. It's not just City Rock Island. Sure.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Also, this past weekend, we had an article in the paper about McLaughlin leaving East Moline. Well, the great part about that is McLaughlin came to Rock Island. So they will be down on 44th Street. Is that correct, Randy? So we have got, it's not a new employer because they already had a building down there, but they're bringing the rest of their force to Rock Island. So that is great.
Yes, it is. Anything else? All right. Item 22.
Executive session. 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, C1, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body. And 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, C21, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by Section 2.06.
Move to go into executive session for the exception cited.
Second. Second. Any discussion on that? Roll call.
Alderman Spargettis.
Yes.
Talonier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
5 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.